We have a quorum, so I'm going to call to order the August 21st, 2018 meeting of the White Bear Lake Conservation District Board. Thank you all for being here, by the way. So we're on to item 3 on the agenda, approval of agenda. Anyone?
So moved.
Motion and a second to approve the agenda. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That passes. Approval of the prior board meeting minutes, so from our July meeting. Does anybody have any additions or corrections they'd like to make to those minutes? Okay. I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That passes. So on to item 5 on the agenda. It's a public comment time where we allow up to 15 minutes for people to come and talk about things that aren't on the agenda. Is there anybody interested in taking advantage of that?
He's going to trip you.
The fishing boats.
So if you could just state your name, Brian.
Just the rental.
Brian Goldrick, 3016 Light Bay, Stillwater, Minnesota, on behalf of Docks of White Bear Lake. Chair, in the past, the board has committed to doing a review of Commercial Bay. As of this date, that hasn't happened. I would like that to happen in the next 60 days, please.
We did.
That we can at least get something started so that we can have something in place for next season.
Okay. I can't commit to the 60 days, obviously, but I understand the
We've already
importance.
committed to doing it last year, and we didn't do it. That's why I'm trying to put a timeline on it, because it's been
Fair enough,
more than
Brian.
patient.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, so we will, actually, we're going to have an executive committee meeting in between this and next month's meeting, and we'll address it at that.
Thank you very much.
At that committee meeting, and then hopefully we'll have some news for you at the next
Thank
meeting.
you.
Thank you, Brian. Anyone else? Okay. Moving on, new business. There's no new business. Unfinished business, no unfinished business. So we're on to reports and action items. First one is executive committee. The executive committee didn't meet this month, so there's no report. The next item is the Lake Resolution Committee. Barton is out for this meeting, not here, so I'm going to take his report. The report is generally that they tried to have a meeting. It was on a Thursday night, Market Fest night. Parking was difficult. Not all the members got into the building in time, and the doors were locked. So anyway, they didn't have a meeting, but they're looking at at opportunities in the future to meet, and that's the report. And the next item is Lake Quality Committee. Mike?
Lake quality, the lake level right now is 923.64. 923.64. So that's 6 inches higher than last year at this time, and it's 4 inches lower than last month at this time. Water temperature is 76 degrees, and last year at this time it was 74 degrees, and last month it was 79 degrees. So it's very comfortable, 76 degrees, have good hot weather. I was going to have a report on the milfoil, but our limnologist, Steve McComas, has been really busy, so he's going to do the lake survey on our treatments on Thursday, August 23rd. If anybody wants to ride with him, there's room for one more on the boat. And that's it for me.
And I'm sorry, Mike, what was the date that you mentioned, August 24th?
August 23rd,
August 23rd?
Thursday.
Any questions for Mike? All right, thank you, Mike. On to the next item, the Lake Utilization Committee. Mark?
Yeah, the only thing we actually have on the agenda, although I've got some updates afterwards, is John Redpath request for a second water ski slalom course. So what they're asking is to work it the same way they do their single course now. They'll just have one on the other side of the lake, so there would never be two in one bay. There'd never be one in Matamidi Bay, or two in Matamidi Bay. If there was one in Matamidi Bay, excuse me, it's been a long day. The other one would have to be in Commercial Bay or Delwood Bay. So our committee didn't think that there would be a problem with that. And the caveat would be that if we started hearing complaints, that we would have to readdress it. But, so I would move that after Labor Day, that we would be able to try having the two slalom courses up in opposing bays from here on out as part of the license. And I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. And Mark, just so I understand the motion, it's after September 1st to allow a second water ski course to be set up somewhere on the lake, but not in the same area as the first one.
Correct, they wouldn't be able to be simultaneously up in one bay.
Sure.
And if you look at it, it's like a clover, there's 3 different bays, so it could never be in the same one.
How have people responded to having the ski course on it? Are people generally receptive to that?
More positive, a lot more positive every once in a while, and not even every year. We might get a complaint that people are skiing too early
in the morning.
and it's waking them up. But oftentimes you find that it's just somebody out skiing. They're not necessarily skiing the course. They're just skiing on that part of the lake.
Got it.
But for the most part, it's being used very responsibly and almost all positive feedback.
That's great. Any other discussion?
I was wondering, isn't there already 2 in Matamidi Bay? There's one on our side of the bay, and I think there's one on your side of the bay, isn't there?
There is one, but it's sunken, and I don't believe they're used simultaneously. If they lift the one up, then the other one is moved out. Is that
haven't noticed
correct?
that.
Yeah, there's only one up at a time. It's only one
Yeah.
location.
So if those two could never be, if there was another one in Matamidi, that one should never be being used at the same time.
Okay.
But there is one sunken that stays fairly there most of the year, but it's never up, it's never raised when the other one is up.
Okay.
Is that
Yep,
correct?
Yep, it would only be raised if the second one was in another bay. And we'd still, we'd move them, twice a month like we do now. So like, when one was up by you, then the one in Matamidi wasn't up. Are you in Birchwood?
I'm in Birchwood.
Yeah, so we had that up over there, that's down now, that's not there, and the Matamidi one went up.
Okay.
We continue to do that in each bay. So if we had one in Commercial Bay and one in Matamidi Bay, we, in twice a month, we would move them. So maybe one of them, and maybe if the wind direction was in a certain direction, we may just put one up. Yeah, maybe it would be in the Yacht Club Bay. Or one in the Yacht Club Bay, and then if we had another one in Matamidi, I wouldn't be in the same location. We'd move it to a different location in Matamidi or Birchwood. We consider Matamidi, Birchwood, the Peninsula, all that one bay. So that one would rotate, one Commercial Bay would rotate, or move to a different bay.
Okay.
And we don't think it would increase the amount of use of it because we're asking for this or requesting this because if it's windy at all, you really can't use it. So there's typically one side of the lake that's calm and one side that's not, and the one side that's not calm, generally wouldn't be used at all.
It wouldn't be common for both of those courses being used the same day. There could be days when there's no wind, and it could be. But typically, one of those two courses is going to be the one used that day.
Yeah, I've noticed the one in Birchwood has been up quite a long time this summer, out in front of my home.
Where in Birchwood are you?
479 Lake Avenue, down by,
By K Beach,
By what?
by the K Beach.
Oh, yeah. It was there for 14 days, I think. I think that was, it wasn't even the full, we weren't even there the full length of the, we usually try to get out 16 or 17 days. It was there about 14 days. But I'll tell you one thing, it was heavily used those days because we had the perfect wind direction for that location, and it was used every day when it was there.
Yeah, Birchwood is pretty
Sometimes
calm.
that makes it appear to be like it's been here forever. But this new change will make it so that, you know, on a mediocre day, you're gonna go to the end of the bay to ski, of course, so
Okay.
it'll work. And if it doesn't, we, you know.
Mike?
I'd have to say that they're, I ski the course a lot, as much as I can, so I'll abstain from voting. But I'll have to say that when there are complaints or concerns, it's been handled immediately. And, you know, John has done a very good job in answering any questions. And like Mark said, a lot of times if it's early skiing, they're not in the course, they're just out skiing. And that really, there's nothing you can do about that, that's okay. And if we see anybody that does use the course too early, they're told immediately, go out and tell them, and then they respect that, so.
What is too early? When are
7
they
a.m.
allowed to start? Sunrise?
7 o'clock.
7 a.m.
7 a.m.?
7 a.m.
The course.
The course.
Skiers
Skiers can go out
Getting
sunrise, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, I'll call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay, and I think we have one abstention.
Abstain.
Kim? And thank you guys for doing a good job out there, right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And thank you for directing the calls to us, because I'll give them my cell phone number. That usually works better. Or move it if something.
Sure.
So I've got some updates.
Okay, and Mark?
So last month, we discussed having a meeting between the Shadow Cay homeowners and the Ramsey County Water Patrol. I spoke with both. It was decided that there probably would not be a meeting. I was informed that there have been several citations or tickets or whatever given recently, and the water commander says that he thinks that that'll probably help some things. They're having some trespass issues. I spoke with the owner about that. So I don't think that it's over, but everybody seems to be right now calm and looking for different answers. But right now, like I said, the Water Patrol commander told me that they're pretty much doing what they can do, keep calling in complaints if you see illegal activity or loud music that they can do something about. Other than that, they're doing what they can. Then, and if there's any questions, come up to me afterwards. I'll be happy to talk to you. And then I want to bring over some things that kind of goes back to what Mr. McGoldrick was saying earlier. We did actually do a boat count this summer. There's a boat count done every year. We went out in the morning. Mike went out in the morning, and then Mike and I went out in the evening and did the same count. And what we found was the VFW had 25 watercraft with 1 empty slip. City White Bear Lake, 159, 2 empty slips. And then the Go Fishing pontoon, the sheriff's boat, and the water rescue boat's always there. And they have a permit for 160. So that worked out. Aqua, 8. Permitted for 8, but is that permit totally solid yet? Do we have anything from the city?
Nope, I talked to Sam yesterday, and she said that, no, there's a lot of work that still has to be done on it, and it's going to be quite a while before she would
Okay.
give us that letter. So she suggested that we could give the permit to Pat with the contingent that that letter will be coming, but she said
Yeah,
it could be
which
in
is
the
sort of what
fall.
we've been doing.
Yeah.
That's what's,
Yeah,
so
she
they,
said it was about
we
parking.
told them they could have 8, they have 8. Tallies, 44 watercraft in rental slips, kayaks, fishing boats, and pontoon rentals as permit states. I'll get to that in a minute. Possible 1 or 2 more rental slips. It looks like they've got 2 tied up along near Aqua side that seem to be pretty permanent in the same boats there every time, but they're not actual slips. So we can try to talk about that with the owner. Docks of White Bear, 208 watercraft, 3 empty slips. Included in this count are 3 rental pontoons, the boat club rental barge. The permit is for 200, which was amended later in the year. So I would propose that we send a letter to Docks of White Bear Lake for extra fees for the overage, along with Tallies as well. Or Tallies doesn't. Tallies. Oh, yeah, they're 2 over. And then, on top of that, we've done a lot of discussion, and next year, I'm just bringing this up. Next month, I'd like to bring some new changes to our ordinances. One that, right now, we have nothing to do when they go over except charge them for the extra boats, really. There's no punitive. So we'd like to put change an ordinance to read something like, any boat overage, so say for sake of argument, you had a license for 50, and we found you with 55, next year you're going to get a license for 45. So however many you go over, you're going to get that many less in your license the next year. So I'm just chew on that. Other thing, we haven't changed the fees for those boats in Commercial Bay for over 15 years that I know of. They're right now $50 a slip, and they're getting over $2,000 a slip. So I would say to move it to 75, and that's up for debate. All boat counts in the boat count are private and commercial. Currently, we have Tallies in there, and it started out really small, but now there's 6 pontoons, 2 high-end fishing boats, plus the other fishing boats that aren't getting counted in the count for the license. And I would propose that those get counted in the amount of slips you're allowed to have. So initially, he's got way more boats than we're actually permitting for. And then all docks in Commercial Bay go back to where they were prior to the water dropping below ordinary high water. That we go back into historic configurations. So that's just what I'd like to, I'm not proposing anything right now, I just want to let you know that you might be hearing about that next month. And so, and to address Mr. McGoldrick as to, the way that Commercial Bay is managed, and maybe, manage it a little tighter than we have in the past. And that's it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any questions for Mark?
Are those boats that you were counting above and beyond Tally's number, are those part of their business? Are they those rental boats that they have available for the public?
Yeah, so currently, we don't charge them for that. And that was traditionally, it started out where you had a couple 12-foot Lunds stacked up on the end with a little, 10-horse tiller on the back. Mm-hmm. And then that went to a couple pontoon boats. Now there's 6 pontoon boats.
7.
Two, what's that?
7.
7.
I named
Eight.
them, named them Drawers.
8, I think.
Oh. And I know of at least 2 of the higher-end fishing boats, not just the little tiller Lunds, that he's using to rent out. And currently, those are not counted, and we haven't been counting them in the total for the license.
Okay. And do we do that across the board for people who have rental types of vehicles that are boats or whatever, or pontoons? They're not included in their count either?
Currently, I think he's the only renting. There's a boat club, but we count their boats.
There's a rental down by Admiral D's, yeah.
Come up and speak, please. Sorry. It's all right.
I think it's great what you're doing, Mark, and I'd be more than happy to go out there and go over any boat or have any discussion. We do currently have 3 rental pontoon boats, and I think on our application, we put down 200 and then 8 2 personal, and I think 4 rental. I don't have it in front of me, but I think we're in compliance, but if we're not, we would pay for
Right.
it. But
and
I'd like to just go over that.
And all I'm saying is for next year, everything counts.
No, that's why I want to have.
Turn on the motor and back it out.
Mark,
then
and that's
it
why
counts
I want
on your license.
to go over everything in the Commercial Bay so everybody has an understanding of what the expectations, what the rules are, and everybody has the same ones. It's my understanding, if it's a licensed vehicle, where you have a DNR license, then it goes on your count. Because I've had people want to put in jet skis.
And that's fine. I don't want to get too into the woods about this. That's
I
okay.
think that's great that we're going to address all that stuff.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mark? Okay, thank you, Mark. Next item on the agenda, the Lake Education Committee. Scott?
Yeah, our new website is up and running. Looks great. 2 issues. We still would like some more photographs. We haven't, we asked the White Bear Press if we could do some of theirs. We haven't made the connection. I don't know if that's going to work, but what I would like to see is like, say, 6 or 7 pictures for each season of the year, and then change it so that there's a different look and feel with every season. The other issue is we did not make any changes to the way the ordinances are presented, and I guess that's still on council's docket. Basically, it's no different than the way it's always been. It's just not very good. So hopefully we can get that fixed. Otherwise, I think we're up and running and ready.
And Alan, can you remind us what I think last time you talked about, last month's meeting, you talked about a schedule. Can you remind us what that schedule was?
Well, it's in process, and ultimately, it'll be the same information, but it'll just be more digestible. And so when you click on one ordinance, you actually will get the same format as the next ordinance. And I think that's one of the kind of the clunkier parts of that, is it's almost as if no two are the same.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it sounds like we're talking about changing some ordinances, so
Well,
maybe.
I suppose the first thing to do is get it so that it's more user-friendly with the current ordinances, and then we can go in and change ordinances after that. Is that a reasonable path forward?
yeah, if you're talking about Mark's suggestions, I guess we'll have to get together and see if they fit within existing ones to amend, or if we have to add.
Yeah,
So some of
Okay,
those
that's-
charges and things like that would be nothing, it's just a matter of changing your schedule. But if we have to add, say, a more punitive aspect to the folks that go over, we'll have to figure out where that would go, or if it needs to be a standalone. So,
Do you think it's reasonable, and I don't want to put you on the spot, Alan, well, maybe I do. Do you think it's reasonable that by next month, we could have those ordinances polished up a bit, or however that goes? All right, thanks for that. Anything else, Scott?
no, that's it.
Any questions for Scott? Okay, thank you, Scott. Treasurer's report, Diane?
Thank you, Chair. Treasurer's report for August 2018. I'd like to make a motion to accept checks 4509 through 4515.
Second. We have a motion and a second to accept these checks. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That passes.
Okay, next item is, if we're waiving or not, which we do every year. We belong to the League of Minnesota Cities, and through them, we get liability coverage. And every year, we need to check whether we are going to not waive or waive. And according to our council, we are supposed to not waive. So I make a motion to sign this liability coverage waiver form and check that does not waive the monetary limits on municipal tort liability.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Everybody understands the motion? All right. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right.
And that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the board council report. Alan?
thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. It'll be interesting to see who comes in on the citations from the flotilla by Ramsey Beach. I haven't seen anything yet come onto the calendar, so they must be in process. So I'm not sure, written on that side of the lake, that might actually go through the Ramsey system instead of the Washington system, because both end up patrolling, so it just depends on who happens to be in the lake at that time. I did talk to the Water Patrol after our last meeting, and I'll actually be meeting with a group of the Water Patrol deputies and give them a little more training and guidance, because they really had, they were struggling with what to actually charge these people with. And so by giving them a better sense of our ordinances and how to effectively use some of the state statutes, hopefully we won't be left with just give them a warning because we don't know what to charge them with. Because that seemed to be something that they were all struggling with. So I guess stay tuned. I mean, it's a good news, bad news thing, right? So people who are seeing, bad conduct, I'm not seeing them in court, which means probably lots of warnings. But the flip side of that is maybe everyone's behaving, and so I'm not seeing citations. So knock on wood, it's been a nice summer, so I drive by the lake every day, a couple, 3 times, and it's definitely busy out there. So people are generally behaving very well. So I'd stand for any questions.
Any questions for Alan? Thank you, Alan.
Thank you.
Item 9, consent agenda. Diane?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second?
I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That passes. Announcements? Kim?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Any questions for Kim? Okay. Thank you, Kim. And we're on to item 11, adjournment. I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That passes. We're adjourned. Thank you all for being here tonight.